My advice to Arkansas fans, enjoy the hell out of this and know that it's not going to be routine.
Chad's view of the South right now is in Arkansas. He has some advice for Arkansas Razorbacks fans.
My advice to Arkansas fans, enjoy the hell out of this and know that it's not going to be routine because you're Arkansas and you're in the SEC West. And I say that because
Lovingly.
there are plenty of programs that have experienced a lot of success. You saw some of this with Dan Mullen at Mississippi State. They'd have an 8-win season back-to-back years, then they'd go 5-7, and suddenly Dan Mullen, wasn't good enough for Mississippi State fans. I don't want Arkansas to get in that position. And I'm not saying that Sam Pittman isn't setting this program up to have success in the SEC constantly, year after year. But being a top 10 team nationally starts to come to an end this weekend, I think, at Georgia. But I would just say enjoy the ride. Know that it's a lot better than what you had with Chad Morris, those back-to-back years not winning an SEC game. And it can sustain itself to some level of success. But this is not an Arkansas program that's suddenly going to be in contention with Alabama, LSU, A&M, Auburn every year in the SEC West. It's just not going to happen. I also love these words from Sam Pittman. He was in a press conference, and he says, talking about motivation, says, I don't think you can reach your full potential out of fear. I think that you can out of want to. This is his coaching philosophy. This is what he's brought to Arkansas. And every coach that goes up against Arkansas says there is something different about that team and how hard they play and how they play with a trust in their head coach. And that's pretty special. That's not constant across all of college sports. You're seeing that with Arkansas. So, again, I'm not trying to kill any momentum with Arkansas fans or anything else. I'm just saying enjoy it now. Don't second-guess it later when things aren't quite this good.
I know you sandwiched that very nicely with enjoy it, but in the middle you didn't really sound like you thought that they were going to be enjoying it.
Well, I don't think they're not going to be undefeated this year, so It's not going to continue the rest of the way. I'm just saying there is something very likable about this Arkansas team. There is something about Sam Pittman and his story that is great, and it's attracting recruits. So enjoy that part of it, but don't start to convince yourself that why can't we be Alabama at Arkansas? You're just not going to be Alabama at Arkansas. It's just not going to happen, regardless of how much fun you're having right now.
Wasn't it fun to hear Glenn say he's not into Georgia's offense, which is completely understandable, after they went 28-0 in 4 seconds and scored 62 points?
Well, he must have just watched the second quarter of that game because it was 35-0 after one quarter, which set all sorts of records. First time it's happened since the 90s in an SEC game that a team scored 35 on an SEC opponent in one quarter. And they scored 3 points in the second quarter.
They didn't play an SEC team last Saturday.
It was 38-0 after that.
How about Vandy going from that to I think they're a 14 or 16-point favorite this weekend?
That was a mind-blowing point spread when I saw that come out, just to think about how horrendous UConn is.
Good old Lou Spanos.
That they're a double-digit underdog to Vandy.
Meanwhile, if Arkansas pulls this upset at Georgia, no one's expecting this. By the way, it's an 11 a.m. kickoff, and ESPN/ABC, they are sending their top crew. This will be
inconceivable.
This will be Fowler and Herb Street's game. It'll be 11 a.m. on Saturday morning.
ESPN College Game Day will be there, and they're walking right from that set to do the
plane
game.
ride for Kirk.
They moved up 8 spots in the AP Top 25 this weekend with their win, Arkansas. They went from 16 to 8. Nice. If they beat Georgia, they are right outside the top 4. I don't know how far Georgia would fall. They're going to fall. But Iowa and Penn State, you would expect both win this weekend. Alabama, who knows what happens with Ole Miss. Arkansas could be right there on the doorstep of the college football playoff with a win.
Well, and I had mentioned before the games this past weekend that Penn State owned the 2 best wins in the country, winning at Wisconsin, beating Auburn. After results this weekend, with Wisconsin getting housed on a neutral field by Notre Dame, and Auburn should have lost to Georgia State. That's no longer the case. Arkansas has the 2 best wins in the country because they beat down a Texas team that has looked really good since. 70 points against going into the game, an undefeated Texas Tech team, 70-35 they won. Then they beat A&M on a neutral field. A&M's offense looks miserable right now, but that's still a really good win for Arkansas.
Look less and less good, too.
I mean, Arkansas, they absolutely should be a top 5, top 10 team. based on what we've seen this year. This is where preseason poll bias comes in, and you keep the teams that you had ranked before the season higher. But Arkansas boasts the 2 best wins in the country right now.
And a quote-unquote good loss to Georgia like you're talking about shouldn't hurt them very much.
No, it won't. It won't hurt them all that much.